We need to cross you over to the Ministry of Health now. Negotiations have started on the payment of the cost of living allowances. At least 5 labour unions say they would need a 20% payment of their basic salaries advanced to them to make up for the astronomical hike in prices of goods and services. Today's meeting, as we understand, will have representation from all the aggrieved labour unions, especially the coalition of teacher unions, which have already withdrawn their services because of the failure of government to release the allowances. Even ahead of that engagement today, Joy News is learning that 3 unemployed nurses have been arrested there at the reception of the Ministry of Health, where of course, the engagement is taking place, and have been whisked away by the police on 2 charges: attempting to picket without order and deceit of a public officer. This follows an earlier intelligence that some government workers had planned to picket at the premises of the Ministry of Health, where, of course, government is engaging organized labor on negotiations for COLA. So let's check out what's happening right now at the Ministry of Health. My colleague Michael Ashale is there for us. Michael, what can you report from where you are?
Okay, so just to start from the first part of the arrest of the 3 nurses that were trying to picket at the Ministry of Health. On the first part of the charges that you read will be that when they got to the premises here, they had been asked earlier what they were here to do, and they had mentioned that they had arrears which had not been paid them yet, and they were here to resolve some of those challenges. So on the basis of that, they were referred to a particular office, only later to realize that they did not go to that office but went to another office, that is the HR's office, where they were supposed to they were going to negotiate for posting instead. So that's a clear difference from what initially they had come to inquire about, and were also directed to that particular office. So they came here, framed themselves as though, allegedly framed themselves that they were posted nurses who had arrears, and they were here to negotiate for that. But later on, they said that they were not. They were rather here for their posting. So on the basis of that, the security had asked them to walk out, after which they denied, or they refused, I beg your pardon, they refused to leave the premises because on the reasons of which they are here, that's not a time to come and see them. They refused, and further to that, the police were invited to come in and pick them up, and they had to leave the premises. So 3 of them, I understand there were about 14 of them that initially came here, but 3 of them were picked up and taken to the police station. I'm yet to find out the exact police station that they were taken to. So these are the reasons I want to believe that they were also picked up at the time. But on the issue of COLA, the door that you see behind me open here is where the more than 20 labor unions are expected to be meeting representatives from government. And at the government side, we are expecting a number of organizations. So we are expecting the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations, and I've seen the minister himself here already, and then we are expecting representatives from the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission as well, and I've also seen their rep here, and then we're expecting the Minister of Finance as a rep from the Ministry of Finance. So going to recall the last meeting that happened here, the Minister for Finance was not here, but today I can confirm that he is here in person, unlike before. He was represented, this ministry was represented by another person who had given responses that were not favorable to some of the meetings, if you recall correctly. So today he's here himself to front the negotiations. And then we're also expecting representative from the Ministry of Education. The minister himself, Dr. Educhum, is also in the meeting. Then we're also expecting a rep from the Ministry of National Security, and then the Control and Accountant General's Department here. So on that will be on the government side though. But on the unions that we are expecting, the labor unions here, a very tall list that we are expecting. I must say that I've seen some of the reps here. I mean, unlike what we've seen in the media for those who are expressly requesting for the conditions of living allowance, the COLA, clock sag. I have seen Dr. Bampo Ado himself here as part of the invited organization or labor unions here. So many more others are here, the likes of TUC, TU. I've seen representatives of TU here, that of some of the other organizations, the Midwifery and Nurses Association, I have seen their rep here as well. That of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, their president himself is here. There's that of NAGRAT as well, Angel Carbono, who's also around here. Now, the door right behind me is open at the moment because the groups have broken up for a caucus meeting. The first session, I want to believe, the early session of the meeting started somewhere around a few minutes to 3, say 2:30 thereabout, and then somewhere around 3, they were allowed to break into their caucus meetings where there will be further deliberations. We want to understand that probably there's been an initial offer after which the caucuses or the various labor unions are supposed to decide whether they're going to be accepting the terms of government or not. Key also on the conversations will be that of Ghana's initial steps to sign on to an IMF program, how that will be impacting these negotiations as well. We are yet to find out how exactly those conditionalities will also play a part of this. We've already heard some of the groups ahead of some of these negotiations mentioned that they don't wish that the IMF will come between their negotiations, given that the reasons they're asking for COLA are still prevalent, are things that they have to face, are real for them, and it's a struggle for some of their membership to live in this prevailing economic conditions. So COLA is not something they are going to be backing down on, but they are here also to listen to what government is going to be saying. Is it going to be any different from the previous meeting last week when government said at the time it will be difficult for them? Soga, as well, the issue of the striking teachers, striking associations. We know NAGRAT and that of NAT have already declared strike, and that of the Public Sector Workers Union have given an indication on the 19th of July they are going to be going on an indefinite strike. For the striking unions in the last meeting, they were told to call off their strike so that negotiations can commence. So you can see Bampo Ado there representing the CLOGSAG, some people working within the local government and the civil service agencies. So you can see Bampo Ado, who just went into the meeting. I spoke about the caucus meeting. The caucus meetings haven't ended there, though even though the labor unions have ended their discussions, a brief one I want to believe, but that on the government side is still ongoing. Duchum representing the education ministry, that of finance ministry, the minister himself, Ken Ofiriatta, are still not returned to this particular room where we are expecting further negotiations to continue.
So what we'll do is that, Papani, you still be on the grounds for us. We'll definitely come back to you after that caucus meeting is over. We'll be coming to you shortly.